Okay, guys. I got this a minute ago. I was just finishing up watching something else. We're gonna do two things in a minute, but right now we're gonna go to something that Super Harbro did something with FNAF. So I want to see the FNAF. FNAF. Now I haven't seen this yet. I got a thing for something, so I'm going to see it real quick. There we go. We're going to watch this real quick. Well, okay, YouTube had, I did update some stuff. So, this is going to be a quick video. It's 2 o'clock, so we're doing a quickie, and it's it.
Life's tasty.
But we're going to wait a minute, though. I'm going to turn this up.
And I will auto-correct it for.
Now I'm going to watch this. I haven't watched it yet. H&MR Rod came on, so I had to skip this and wait a few minutes. So I'm going to redo it now since I haven't got time now. I'm going to do it now. I've wanted to watch this, so I haven't got a chance to because H&MR Rob was on it. And when Rob comes on, I cut off my stuff and wait for him to do his stuff and drop it. When he gets off, I can go back on. That's my rule here at this channel. People don't think I'm nuts, though, but that's kind of how we do things around here on this channel. Or the secondary person can do whatever they want. I mean, I have a person who runs this channel. They can actually do whatever they want on this channel, which I really don't give a care they do on this channel. As long as I don't have to worry about getting sued or anything, I really don't give a care. I mean, I own a company. The company's kind of... we're going to have to wait a second for this to sync up. I'm going to... We came back the very next day. We came back the very next day. We came back the next day. I don't know what the clicker. Click. Auto-tune. We came back the very next day. We're going to start this over again in a second. So I haven't seen this yet. I was going to, but
And in today's video, we take a look at every Five Nights at Freddy's game to see which is the scariest of all time and why. We won't be looking at fan-made games and mods here, although if you would like me to cover these in a separate video, just let me know in the comments below. Instead, we focus on creator Scott Cawthon's 8 main entries, including this year's VR debut, Help Wanted. There's a lot of ground to cover and games to play, so let's begin at the bottom of the stack with the least scary entry as we work up to the scariest of all time. Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location, the 5th entry in the FNAF franchise, divided fans at the time of release because it took a radically different approach to both its presentation and gameplay. Instead of taking place in one room with a simple gameplay loop built around it, Sister Location had several different locations to traverse. Set inside Circus Baby's entertainment and rental, a warehouse where animatronics could be rented out for children's birthday parties, the player must crawl from a central hub area through vents to different rooms within the facility, each with minigame-based objectives to complete. Much of the game is full of dorky humor, story exposition, and long stretches where the player is completely free from danger, and as a result, Sister Location feels far less nerve-wracking and challenging than other entries in the series.
I see what you were trying to type, and I will auto-correct it for you. Thank you for selecting Casual Bongos.
Although it should be noted, the game does contain a secret ending where we return to the classic FNAF gameplay formula as we try to escape one of the series' most terrifying animatronics, Ennard.
Don't tell me, I never played.
Said to be a representation of William Afton's hell following his demise at the end of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator, Ultimate Custom Night isn't a standard FNAF game. Instead of featuring a strong narrative, Custom Night, as the title suggests, is a customizable collection of wave-based game modes. It allows the player to pick from a bounty of different animatronics found in previous FNAF titles, selecting their difficulty levels before spawning them into an ever more challenging environment to see how long they can survive their advances. Each animatronic features a minigame or survival method built around them we must memorize and act upon if they decide to attack. There is a great deal to remember, and on harder difficulties, the game becomes a near impossible barrage of enemy waves that few have managed to overcome. Custom Night certainly contains its fair share of jump scare moments, perhaps more than any other game in the series. But because of its unrelenting bombardment of scares and its goofy premise, it soon becomes far less scary than a normal FNAF game. Instead, it has the power to frustrate more than terrify.
Huh.
Everyone in the family agrees on one favorite: the crunchy goodness of Lay's kettle cooked.
I don't like Lay's kettle cooked chicken. It's a crap. Also, Jay's Crunchers think you're really nuts.
Nice taste crunch on.
Also, Jay's Crunchers think you're very nuts. I don't have Boo, which that'll be coming out soon. I don't. Ooh! Can't wait for that new show coming on. Behind the Mask is coming on next month, and everyone loves that show. FNAF 2.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 features perhaps the biggest departure from the original game's art style out of any of the following sequels. The animatronics certainly looking far less creepy as a result.
Yay!
This is the main reason why, at least in my opinion, FNAF 2 is far less scary overall than many of Scott's other games. The enemies just look far less intimidating. That's not to say that FNAF 2 is devoid of scares though. In fact, it's actually pretty creepy overall. The mechanic of hiding behind a Fazbear mask in the security office as various animatronics wander over to inspect us up close and personal is pretty unnerving.
I love that.
And the need to keep a music box cranked adds a constant anxiety to the mix also, especially considering failure to do so means coming face to face with this terrifying puppet. FNAF 2 also features another super creepy animatronic known as Mangle, a creature made up from various pieces of scrap crudely bolted together. Mangle can hang down from the ceiling to attack from above, and is sure to keep even the most fearless of player on the edge of their seat. So while not the scariest Five Nights experience, it certainly has its moments. FNAF 6, also known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator, caught most fans off guard upon its initial release. The game's Steam page presented it as a free-to-play pizza simulator in the classic 8-bit style of the cryptic backstory minigames the series is known for. And sure enough, the game begins as exactly that. However, before long, it becomes apparent that as well as managing a pizza joint, we must also take part in the usual Five Nights survival horror gameplay.
Wow.
We play as the manager of a newly founded pizzeria and must survive in the ventilation system as we try to complete a number of noisy end-of-shift duties, such as printing out orders. The problem is the pizzeria is full of killer animatronics making a return from previous titles.
Hello.
Before each night, we find a scrapped animatronic mysteriously dumped in the alleyway, and we can decide whether or not to salvage them. If we mess up during this salvage operation, then the animatronic jump scares us and becomes yet another threat on the night shift.
Begin audio prompt in 3, 2, 1.
I always come back. FNAF 6 has a genuinely unnerving atmosphere and some incredibly dark and disturbing backstory sequences, making it a very scary experience overall.
Oh, that is. These damn trailers.
Look, it's a beluga whale.
These damn trailers.
That's it. Suit up. What's the matter?
I don't care, Chester. FNAF 3.
In FNAF 3, we find ourselves in the role of a security guard at a futuristic amusement park known as Fazbear's Fright, with the ghost of serial killer William Afton, who now inhabits the body of the Springtrap animatronic he died in, stalking us through its halls. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 has perhaps the most chilling atmosphere of any game in this series. The idea is to make sure we distract Springtrap for long enough to survive the night. He is the only animatronic who can actually harm us, as all the other enemies show up in the form of phantom-like apparitions. They can appear when switching between camera feeds and then jump scare us, as well as shutting down power to vents and cameras, which then allows Afton to reach us more quickly.
Afton. Hi, Springtrap.
Due to the random nature of these phantom scares and the creepy way Springtrap watches us from the cameras and doorway of the office, we find ourselves constantly on edge. It's especially scary knowing the mangled body of William Afton remains within the Springtrap suit, and there's something supremely eerie about the way in which he stares us down as he calmly slinks over to attack. The dull and dimly lit sickly green environment only adds to the oppressive atmosphere. All in all, a game that is pretty uncomfortable to play.
First one?
As we enter the top 3 scariest FNAF games, of course we must mention the one that started it all, the original Five Nights at Freddy's. This jump out of your seat point-and-click experience introduced the world to a new kind of horror game, one featuring the now iconic animatronics Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica, designs that have stood the test of time with their simple creep factor. There's always been something eerie about animatronics, and Scott Cawthon took this uncanny fear to the max in the original game, where we must survive 5 nights of hell as a security guard watching the pizzeria by night. A time when these family-friendly mascots take on a sinister nature, hunting us until the clock strikes 6. Whether it's Foxy's mad dash from Pirate's Cove, catching sight of Bonnie or Chica in the doorway when checking the lights, or the power running down to reveal Freddy waiting in the darkness, one thing is for sure, the original is still to this day the scariest in many aspects and remains a classic modern horror game for that reason. Most people fear the dark at some point during their childhood, and some even carry that fear into their adult life too. There's certainly something creepy about what we can't see living in the darkness, no matter how irrational it may seem. The thing living in the closet or under the bed, and usually it's all in our mind. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 homed in on this concept by making an entire game based around the concept of surviving a night as a child afraid of the dark. However, in the darkness of this child's room lurk animatronics such as Nightmare Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and scariest of all, Nightmare. These designs are some of the most disturbing in FNAF history because they're meant to be the ultimate nightmare version of the classic designs. As well as attempting to locate these nightmares, we also get to play a game of chicken with Plushtrap, where we must allow him to edge down a dark hallway toward us and spot him by turning on our flashlight at the last possible moment. Gameplay is very difficult as we must check both the bed, 2 doors, and closet for oncoming threats, and only the faint sound of animatronic breathing cues us to their locations. There's few moments in the series more terrifying than checking the doorway to see one of these guys right up in your face. Add to that the incredibly tragic backstory told throughout the game via 8-bit style cutscenes, and you have without a doubt one of the scariest and most unsettling games in the series.
This is game fuel. It's domination in a can.
Oh, shit.
At number 1 we have Help Wanted, the latest mainline FNAF game and first one to officially launch in virtual reality. It should be no surprise that this is the scariest Five Nights experience, as we are literally put face to face with Freddy and his friends like never before. Fully realized in 3D, giving us the player freedom to explore environments and scares up close and personal as if we were really there.
Was it black and white?
It includes many classic moments from franchise history, including most of the ones we've covered in this very video. Everything feels much more realistic and immersive, and the new character Glitch Trap and his backstory is pretty creepy. The deeper we get into this game, the stranger the story becomes, and we discover this story via a series of hidden audio tapes which reveal the very code of the game itself is cursed and haunted.
By creating a protected area to store these logs apart from the game, I effectively gave this thing a safe place to hide itself. It's in here now. I may not be able to delete it, but I might be able to do something else now that it's attached itself.
This is both a celebration of FNAF's scariest moments and a way to introduce these characters to a new generation 5 years after the first game's release. And what an introduction it is. The scariest FNAF game by far, all thanks to the invention of VR. And that's it for today's video.
Okay.
Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy
I don't care
watching,
about
and
that
maybe
crap.
drop a comment too,
Okay.
as well as subscribing to
Okay,
the channel
that's pretty
and
neat.
turning on notifications so you never miss an
So
upload.
that's nice.
This channel special.
Okay, thank you. Now that was kind of interesting. Now let's do something else. Like, well, I do not know what's. Ooh. The Spanish. Blah. Do 1470. I think it's 1478 it happened. Faith gone wrong. In 1478. Hey. You're watching H&M Reboot. I mastered the game. Oh, so he ate that. In 1478, and things were going great in Seville. We're playing by the rules, hey. There are many